morning, good evening, good afternoon to all my blessed beloveds out there in video land. You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty, and I'm Rusty. I am super excited today. I've been to New Zealand, I've been to Africa, I've been to Italy, and now I'm trying to find out where I'm going to be with Dr. Attri. I don't know if I'm saying that right, Doc.
You are saying it right, Rusty. Thank you so much.
Where are you
Yes.
located?
Rusty, I am located in Singapore.
In Singapore, see? I've been to Africa, New Zealand, Italy, and Singapore all within 24 hours. I'm like superhero material right now.
That's great. That's really great. It's a pleasure seeing you, Rusty. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show. So, Dr. Attri, who are you? What do you do? And what makes you you?
Yeah, great question. Well, my name is Raman. Doctor is just by qualification. But by work, I am actually a performance scientist, and I am also a training thought leader for a Fortune 500 company. But that's the work. Work doesn't really define me, truly. I was born in India, and when I was 6 months old, I got polio virus, and because of that, I lost my ability to walk. But now that defines me as well. That's part of my personality now. And I have gone through a journey, and that journey has made me seek my avenues into learning. And that's why I think I'm the learning leader and I'm a performance scientist, figuring out different ways to learn better and faster. So that's my, personal, professional world coming together.
Well, that's exciting. I don't think you necessarily need legs. You have the biggest smile I think I've ever seen on anybody.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
You have a great smile. So talk to us about performance training.
Performance training is more about understanding that how we human really perform something. And of course, the foundation to performance is our learning. But learning is not everything when it comes to performance. Because when we're talking about performance, we're talking about you should be able to produce outcomes. And my role as a performance scientist to understand what should be your inputs, how you should process it, and how you can transform those inputs into outputs and outcomes. And then it becomes performance for the world. So it's basically translating learning into the outcomes which you are known for, what can bring you the earning, what can bring you the recognition.
Okay, so we're talking about how to be the best version of you. What are the metrics on that?
Okay, good point, by the way. I mean, because in the professional world, we always say performance is in relationship to certain metrics. Sometimes it's kind of going ahead of others. So that's a sort of race, that's a sort of competition. But the way I look at performance is your true excellence. How do you achieve true excellence? And when we say excellence, it's not about race with somebody else. It's race with yourself. You want to surpass what you have achieved yesterday. You're basically setting up new standards. And the true performance in human words is that it's about excellence, going next, doing something better, what you feel that it should be the right thing to do. And the metrics for that one, I would say, is what makes you happy, where you feel that you're making a difference, where you feel that you're contributing something. And also part of that one is sometimes the metrics is not necessarily the impact making or difference making, because the biggest difference you need to make is yourself first. And it has to make a difference to you that, yeah, I am moving forward. I am creating new standard. So this is my version of metrics on performance, how we move forward.
So Dr. Attri, talk to us about your personal metrics. I mean, you grew up in India. India is a very populated country. Delicious food. I am addicted, by the way. Wonderful culture, beautiful colors. There's just so much wonderful there. But you ended up, I think you're about my age, so you're pretty darn young, with polio, and you lost your legs. And that had to be the foundation of the reason why you have the biggest smile I've ever seen.
Thank you so much. I will take it as a compliment. I think you find your smiles from your pains. And once you live through them, you learn to see that the positive side of the world. And maybe for a short while, it does pull you down. Maybe it drags you down. For my case, polio and the disability took away my ability to walk. And for probably 10 years, I was complaining about it. I was feeling bad about it. But then eventually I said, maybe this is my X factor. Maybe this is my differentiator. Maybe this is what is going to propel me forward. And that's where I found my X factors because I figured out that if I wasn't immobile, I had distraction free time. Nobody was disturbing me. I had all the time in the world. And, as kids, time is never enough. But for me, it was plenty out there. Nobody was disturbing me, no social distraction, no spoiler friends. So I think I leveraged that one. And once I started leveraging, I found, oh, you know what? This is the way to move forward. And then once I started getting the sense of achievement, I figured that I'm contributing. I figured that I am making difference to myself and the surrounding. That's where I think my smile comes about.
I think you must have had really good parents too, who loved you a lot, or really good influences in your life to give you that much um, motivation. Because it had to have been really hard as a child, and I personally can't imagine what the feelings were that you had to get through, and that's tough stuff. But look at you now. I mean, you're motivating and exciting people to be better versions of themselves. What do your folks say?
Uh, okay, that's a good one. Yeah, I think people do look at my story and they find it motivating and inspiring. But I have a different version of motivation and inspiration. What I tell them is that, I have lived through struggles. There are a lot of different functions in my life I can't do. So I definitely can't be your inspiration. But what you can find from me is how did I find my clarity? Because clarity in life is very important, who you are or who you are meant to be or which direction you should go. So the power of clarity is this: once you have it, you don't need any motivation or inspiration, because in most cases motivation or inspirations are very short lived. You may hear some motivational talk or motivational ideas, but by the time you go to your car parking, the ideas might not stay. It's very short lived, but the clarity stays with you forever. So I tell them that you don't look at how struggleful my life was and what I have done. If I can do as a disabled, you can do far better. I say that may not be the way to really look at this. What you need to look at is, how did I find out the clarity? Can you transfer that clarity in your life? Can you use that technique? So I think that is going to be a long-lived transformation if they can adopt. So this is my version of motivation and inspiration. I think people should more seek about clarity.
What do your parents think of all of your hard work?
I think my parents have been very supportive in the beginning because I came from a family not so well-to-do. We were very poor, and only way at that point of time, because back in India, the kids are the support for the family, and everything depends upon kids, that how much they can progress, what kind of job they can get, what kind of profession they're gonna get. That's where the family transformation comes in. But in my case, there were a lot of doubts, I would say, a lot of concern whether or not I'm going to be even able to go to school, or whether or not I'm going to be able to find a trade or profession. So there were lots of, ifs and thens kind of things around my existence back then. But my parents thought about that, if I'm taking so much interest in learning, probably this is my way. So they kept on pushing me or encouraging me that, okay, keep doing this thing. And they hope that someday will make some sort of transformation. But as parents, I think that they tried their best to invest their energy and their efforts and hard work in making me move forward. And luckily, everything kind of sat in place, so it worked, it clicked.
I love it. That's a great story. So clarity, talk to us. How do we find our own clarity? Because I'm a big person for motivation and inspiration and holding on to what makes me happy. But what does clarity mean to you?
I think the clarity, the way I look at it is, the clarity is a journey. On one side of the clarity is to find out who you are. And on the other side of the spectrum, I believe is you need to find out who you are meant to be. So between these 2 points, who you are and what you're meant to be, there is a journey. And very important piece is that how do you travel that journey? What route you're going to take in your life? Which way you're going to go to that point, what you're meant to be? So many times what happens is people have a lot of clarity of this side, who I am. I might have a lot of clarity what I'm meant to be. But if I don't choose the right path, it's going to take much longer for me to go there. So very important part is to find the right route because I advocate speed. I advocate acceleration in life that, okay, let's speed up your excellence. So part of that one is very important is the path you choose. So if you choose the right path, you're going to reach to that level where you want to go in a shorter amount of time. Otherwise, you're going to spend a lot of time in the struggle. So I kind of advocate clarity about these three things. But then I also met people even my own struggle for a long while has been this. I couldn't figure out who I was. And I spent many years figuring that out. I have met lots of friends in my circle who had similar challenge. They were trying many years to find out who they were. So then in that case, I guide them, guys, you have spent so many years trying to find who you are. If you can't find, then why not invest energy on trying to find what you're meant to be? So once you have the clarity of other side of the spectrum, then you can choose the right path as well, instead of going in the circle and circle again and again.
So you said you're saying I wasted half of my life going in circles.
I actually, it's a journey. We do love exploration. We keep exploring ourselves. We keep exploring our existence. We keep exploring our meaning. We keep exploring our purposes, right? But while exploring, we do spend a lot of time. What if that kind of clarity somebody, our mentor or coach, gave us when we were in high school? So imagine how much we would have accelerated in our life, how soon we would have reached to the level of excellence what we wanted. And then once you reach to that level, what you're going to do, you're going to share with the rest of the world. That means now you got more time to serve others, give them better clarity, give them the better path. But when you are on exploring a lot of things, trying to figure out things, then you got only this much time left what you can really give out to people.
So when you were a child, did you think that you were going to grow up and be a motivational speaker, or did you find clarity when you got sick?
Okay, I have gone through several phases of clarity. It was never one clarity because what happens. A lot of situational factors. The moment your situations get changed, your clarity either becomes better or it becomes obscure. It depends upon all the surrounding thing that happens around you. But when I was a child, at that point of time, first of all, of course, I was a lot of got interested in learning. I kind of read every kind of book I could afford, even ahead of my age. I mean, I remember that when kids were reading comics, I probably was reading Dale Carnegie at that time. So I was reading a lot, and that's where my love for learning came in. But then, and then I figured out, I'm a very experimental guy. I want to experiment with myself and with the other thing. So somehow the thought came in my mind that I wanted to be a scientist. So I thought my best bet to be a scientist would be to become an engineer. So then I chose that path. I thought that was the path I was meant to do. And I went on, I became engineer at the age of 20 or 21. And a year later, I became scientist. And when I was scientist, then I was reevaluated my course. I said, you know what? I used to love learning. I was a guy who will go deeper into learning, try to experiment with my own way of working, and try to learn faster. What should be my path? And that's where I kind of detoured and 100% came into learning domain. And that's where I became performance scientist. I became the learning thought leader. And everything I'm doing right now is related to learning. So I think clarity sometimes comes with experimentation. The
I
right
think you were
experimentation
exactly
will,
right. You were
right?
exactly right.
Yeah. So that's where we keep exploring, but which is good thing because sometimes good exploration will give you good clarity as well. And then you will, that becomes your passion. And that's, I think, also a way to explore that is this your passion or not?
I think that's really important to emphasize is, does this make you happy?
Yeah. That's, I think, very important. We do, I think we do deprioritize sometimes happiness. We kind of over prioritize success, but the success is not equal to happiness or vice versa. So we need to be very sure that what exactly are we doing and what's the motivation, what kind of metrics, as you said earlier, we want to achieve. Is the metrics in terms of dollars, or the metrics is in terms of service, or metrics in terms of feeling happy? So yeah, you're right. The happiness comes out of that.
I know a lot of millionaires who are successful that they're miserable. They're just miserable because they're not in, to me, happiness is mind, body, and soul. And when
Right?
you have all of those in balance, you're in balance and you're happy. And sometimes I think we're misguided to only have one or the other, and we don't merge those pieces.
Yeah, yeah. You said it right. When I was doing my research, I mean, all these years I have been learning. So this scientific temperament was there right from the beginning. So I keep looking at the observation, how things are working, keep reading a lot of things. So one of the concepts that came about is resonance. So the concept of resonance is very similar to the concept of harmony. In the concept of harmony, we say our mind, body, and the heart, everything should be in sync and aligned with each other. And that's the stage when we achieve the harmony. I think that's a beautiful concept that works a wonder in a lot of domains. But then at the same time, people also want professional success. They want to move forward, they want to contribute to society, they want to contribute to their own progression, a lot of things, and people work for their families as well. So that's where the resonance concept comes, is when your inner things, whatever you have inside, like passions, you have certain interests, that certain things makes you happy. When you start matching with your external world, which are your skills, your achievement, your experience, so the moment you marry these two together, it get amplified. And that's where you achieve resonance. You love what you do what you love, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's what we do every day, you and I. We do what we love, right?
Yeah, yeah,
We might have had a bumpy road getting here, but we're here.
yeah, that's right.
So where can we find more information about you?
I think very easy to find me on my website. The name of the website is ramankatri.com. It's same my name. But these days people use a lot of social media. So I am on most of the social media channels. People can find me Raman K. Attri, and my prefix is DR, Dr. Raman K. Attri, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or any other channel which they use. So that's where to find me.
Do I remember correctly that you've written a book?
I have written about 20 books, Rusty, and I just released a book. It's called Speed Matters, and it's mostly for leaders, executives, managers. It's meant more for the current situation today, because during pandemic, you see what's happening around us is even our employees and leaders, they're struggling to really catch up with new skills, new technologies. And the moment this pandemic is going to be over, the biggest piece the leaders will have is, how do I go ahead in the market? How do I capture back my clients or customers? And the part of that one, what do I say is that it is about the metrics you institute in your organization. How fast you invest on your people and develop them, because ultimately they are the one who are going to produce the solutions. They are the one who are going to be serving the customers. So I wrote that book in mind. I did a research for about 8 years, and then I compiled whole data that most of our executives are not even educated about speed. I mean, in general, they say, let's put the aggressive timelines on the project, that's speed. But that speed is very short-lived. That's not sustainable. So the book I wrote, Speed Matters, it's about how do you get sustainable competitive edge ahead of your competitors? How do you build a speed enabling culture in your organization? And how do you educate your managers and employee to build in the infrastructure and tools and technology that enable your speed and propel you forward?
I think that's really interesting, but I want to dig a little bit deeper on that, because are you saying speed as in like a spark, like a spreading, or speed as in literal speed? Because we're in such a fast food world.
Yeah. I think it needs to be differentiated, certainly, because our traditional concept of speed is let's do the work fast, let's finish it quickly, let's complete our project as soon as we can. So there is a sort of mad rush, and that mad rush comes when there are push on the timelines, when the dates are aggressive. So employees or leaders, they are made to deliver things quickly in a shortest possible time, and many times they don't even have enough time to learn and to produce the quality what they need. But the speed, what we really need is what we call as first time right. What we're saying is you build your employees to a level where their performance is first time right, so that you don't have to go back and rework. You don't have to invest any more resources to qualify it or make it better. You satisfy your customer for the first time. Now, in order to reach that level of performance, we're saying let's make that performance consistent. That means you do first time right, but it doesn't happen only one time. It keeps repeating. It's consistent, no matter what kind of product they are serving. It's repeatable no matter what kind of customer they're going to serve. And it is reliable. You can blindly rely on employee that they are going to deliver it every single time. But to reach to that stage, it takes time. And what we're saying is it may mean that you need to go slow in the beginning. But when you reach that level, and that level is what we're trying to bring in quicker. And if you can bring in that point quicker in your organization, you get the kind of competitive edge which no other your competitions or any other organization may have. So what's going to happen is the moment you go out to the customer, you will satisfy customer first time right, and you retain the business. So that's the speed we are talking about.
Well, that is exactly what the world needs, because we've forgotten to invest in our people. And you're basically saying if you invest in your people, they will work. What a
Oh yeah.
concept, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what has happened during the last 10 years is most organizations have become customer centric. It has its own advantage, because that means they gear all their strategies, infrastructure, manager, everybody. Customer is right, you're going to need to serve the customer. So everything revolves around customer. But now what we're saying is, what if everything revolves around your employees? What if you make employee-centric culture or employee-centric organization? They are the face of to the customer. So when they deliver it right to the customer, you achieve everything. You achieve revenue, you achieve market share, you achieve customer satisfaction. Everything comes out of their capabilities. So why not invest on their capabilities, bring their capability forward in a shorter amount of time, so they become competitive sooner. So that's a different concept. Let's focus on people.
I love it. And I think we should focus on people all the time, because people are kind of really cool and they make the world a better place, right?
Yeah, agree.
So
Yeah.
as we're wrapping up the last couple of minutes, is there anything in particular that you want to talk about? Because it's your show.
Thank you so much, Rusty. I mean, I think overall, I would like to, kind of give this message to people that, learning is very important in life, and equally important is to deliver the performance. But then life is beyond that as well. The life is more about seeking your meaning. And the meaning comes when we focus on our excellence. And I have seen in my own encounters with people and the research, most of the time we are so busy learning the thing, so busy performing the things, that we don't focus on our excellence. And also, there is a comparative things going on. We compare ourselves with other people so much that we get derailed, and we hardly get our time to focus on our excellence. So my concept here is that I want to appeal to people, Focus on your excellence and not just being excellent in what you do, whatever you do. Also try to see that how soon you can achieve that point. And I have been trying to propel this idea of accelerating the excellence. And it's something which I think every one of us should really look into, because world is so fast now. Time is very limited. Everyone got same amount of time, but then there are tens of things we need to really do in our life, and we want a time for our family or other things which are more important to us. So let's kind of pull that point forward and live the life as we can.
Oh, I love it. Yay. Thank you, my
Thank you.
friend, for joining us today. I appreciate you and all that you do, and I'm glad that you have the biggest smile I've ever seen in my life. I just love it. And
Thank
I'm
you.
proud of all of your accomplishments. If I can be proud of that, just wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Attri.
Thank you so much, Rusty, for having me on your show. It was wonderful. Thanks for the conversation. I loved it.
Well, you're welcome. You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty. I'm Rusty, and I get to travel all over the world meeting amazing people like Dr. Attri, who had a rough start, but look, he's got a smile that is bigger than the sun. You can see and feel the joy and love that he has for life. And oh, it gets me so excited. You can have that too. You just have to, I think he said, strive for your excellence, not anybody else's, yours. What does that mean? What's your purpose? What do you want to do when you grow up? You can be whatever you want. Look, I just traveled all over the world. I'm Superwoman now. Guess what? You ignore people who say bad things. That's easy. No more TV. That's poison. So off with that. And I like his brain because learning is really the cat's meow. So yeah, what are you going to do for your excellence? Check it out. His links are down below. Reach out to him. I'm sure he'd be more than willing to chat with you. And he's got 20 books, so that's plenty of reading for this winter. Pick them up. You know where they are. Know that you're loved, know that you're beautiful, and do something kind. Be kind, smile more, laugh more, tell really bad jokes, even if they're dad jokes. Jokes are jokes. Make people laugh. Donate your time, donate your money. You're not going to take the money with you. The Egyptians taught us that. All of their tombs have been raided at least 4 times now. They never got to take the money, right? So it's not about that. It's about excellence, and I like that. Till next time.